Jey Uso against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam 2026 was never on my bingo list of possibilities. That was never even a thought as far as that actually happening. Like, if you would have told me back in January that this would have been the actual match, I would have told you you're bullshitting me, you're lying to me. But after tonight, that very well could be the actual match we have at SummerSlam. Because as you guys know, Jey Uso tonight was going to wrestle Javon Evans in a King of the Ring qualifier match. I believe after this, the winner was going to head off to the actual finals to face off Oba Femi. And as much as we love Javon Evans is 21, 22, whatever the case is, he was never going to be in the actual running to be the King of the Ring winner. We had to know that going into this match, going into Saudi Arabia, it was going to be Jey Uso against Oba Femi. And now with the fact of Oba Femi consistently calling out Brock Lesnar, we're still at a crossroads as far as like who WWE is actually going to crown at Saudi Arabia, because now it's Jey Uso against Oba Femi. Do we see Oba Femi actually straight up beat Jey Uso and go on to face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Does he beat him and then we have the Brock Lesnar interference afterwards? Does Brock Lesnar interfere and cost Oba Femi the match, giving Jey Uso the win? Is there a completely different scenario that we're not thinking of as far as like maybe Brock takes out Oba before the match and somebody replaces Oba? There's so many scenarios here, but I think the worst case scenario is Jey Uso wins and Jey Uso goes off to face Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, and I think that's probably the most likely scenario here. But speaking of Cody Rhodes, he had a match here against Gunther for the WWE Championship with Sami Zayn as the special guest referee. Heading into this SmackDown, I believe that this was going to be the main event. I legitimately thought that this was going to be saved as the main event with some sort of fuckery in the main event to make this a triple threat at Saudi Arabia. But this actually opened the show. They claimed it was commercial free, which it kind of wasn't. But this was the opening of the entire show. So judging off of that, you had to have known that there was going to be some fuckery going into this match, especially with Sami Zayn being the special guest referee. And of course there was, because Sami Zayn, he was impartial until he wasn't. And there was a point in the match where Gunther, he was hanging onto the ropes and Sami Zayn kicks him off the ropes and gives Cody Rhodes the fast 1, 2, 3 count. And then this causes a shitload of chaos here between Cody, Gunther, and Sami. Eventually Cody comes back out to the ring and says like, hey, let's do this match, let's restart it once again, you and me, Gunther. And Gunther in the meanwhile attacks Sami backstage, and then Sami afterwards, after like a minute into this restarted match between Cody and Gunther, delivers the haluva kick to Gunther, causing this to end off in a disqualification. Afterwards, Cody just simply tells Nick Aldis like, hey, you know how this is going to end up. Let me beat both of them. Give them to me at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. So, of course, it's made official. Triple threat here between all three men. One thing I will mention, and it's been brought up as far as Cody Rhodes and his title defenses. The booking for Cody Rhodes ever since SummerSlam has been absolutely horrendous. Cody Rhodes is the top guy in this company, or at the very least, he's treated as the top guy in this company. Yet every single thing that he's done post SummerSlam hasn't hit, right? You think of the feuds with Drew, the feuds with Gunther, the feuds with Randy. Everything just hasn't hit. And especially considering the fact of every single title defense that this guy has, it's, with some sort of controversial finish. Like, when are we going to actually have a legitimate, straight up singles wrestling match between Cody Rhodes and his opponents? It feels like that's a luxury at this point. And it also kind of hurts Gunther in the sense of Gunther, he's already lost to Cody, I believe, 3 times. And he feels like an afterthought with this whole Cody-Sami situation. So part of his booking is also kind of, ruined his aura in a sense of like, this doesn't feel like the guy that retired Cena. This doesn't feel like the guy that retired Styles. But honestly, if you want my straight answer, I feel like if you have this match at Saudi Arabia, you should pull the trigger and have Sami Zayn walk out of there as the WWE champion. Why not? Give this some sort of sense of unpredictability. Does Sami Zayn walk into SummerSlam as a WWE champion? Quite possibly. You know, they've teased Sami and Jey, and I don't really know if that's the direction that they want to head into, or they could have Sami drop the title before SummerSlam if they're really gung-ho about, you know, Cody walking in as SummerSlam as the WWE champion. But like, why not just mix it up here? It would add a lot more credence to his whole, you know, I'm the last real good guy in WWE. We also had Liv Morgan advance here in the Queen of the Ring tournament. She defeated Charlotte Flair in the main event segment, or in the main event match. I was kind of curious as far as whether or not Liv would actually advance to the finals, because obviously she's the world champion. It makes no sense still to me why she's in this tournament, but regardless, it feels like they have nothing else for Liv, so they're just like, hey, Stephanie's gone for the time being, so we have nothing else for you, so here you're in the Queen of the Ring tournament. They wrote off Charlotte in a sense of they had Jade Cargill and B-Fab and Michin attack Charlotte before the match actually began. They attacked her knee, and this was kind of their way of, you know, protecting Charlotte from eating a pinfall or from losing straight up to Liv Morgan. This company, if you've noticed or not, this company is very much afraid to pin their top stars. I mean, that's a recurring theme I think that you should notice here on these programs, that they're afraid of having their top stars look weak. And that's a problem that I think needs to be addressed within WWE Creative. We also had Ricky Saints here defeat Carmelo Hayes for the number one contenders United States Championship opportunity. I legitimately thought that they were going to do a three-way as well here between all three men, between Trick, Mello, and Ricky Saints, but it seems like, or if this ends up being a triple threat scenario once again, because the way Mello lost here, it was kind of up for interpretation as far as like, did he get screwed over because he got hit with the ring post, so on and so forth. Again, like I mentioned, this company is a little afraid to pin their top stars or the stars that they, you know, see something in. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode of Smackdown. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.